She only wanted to escape the rain, find a car, and get home. Nothing more. But on an ordinary night, fate placed Maddie face to face with a cold, unreachable millionaire. A wrong encounter that looked like a disaster, but turned into something much greater, who hasn't felt small before life, believing they would never be noticed. This story shows that even the most humiliating mistake can open the door to an unexpected romance, filled with hope and redemption. Get ready. What begins as injustice and embarrassment may end up proving that true love appears when we least expect it. Rain poured down heavily, beating against the window of a black car parked on the corner. Maddie ran with her broken umbrella, soaked through, her hair plastered to her face. The dead phone in her hand felt like just another burden on that miserable night. Without thinking twice, she opened the door and stepped in, leaving a trail of water on the seat. She took a deep breath, convinced she had found her Uber. But soon, she realized the silence was different. The man behind the wheel didn't say a word. He just turned his head slowly toward her. Perfect suit, icy stare, clenched jaw. Maddie tried to smile, embarrassed, but her voice shook as she asked, "Sorry, you're the driver, right?" He didn't answer. He only raised an eyebrow, as if analyzing an unforgivable mistake. The air grew heavy, and she wished she could vanish. The engine roared. The car glided through the wet streets while Maddie spoke nervously, spilling out her frustration. "My boss is going to kill me. My life's a joke. Even my umbrella betrayed me." Her words echoed inside the luxurious interior, but the man remained unmoved. It was as if he was absorbing every single word. A deafening silence filled the space. At every red light, the city's reflection lit up his eyes. Maddie realized this wasn't an ordinary car. The leather seats, the polished dashboard, everything screamed power. "I shouldn't be here, should I?" she asked, biting her lip. For the first time, he spoke, his deep voice cutting through the air. "Definitely not." Her heart skipped a beat. The car stopped in front of a towering corporate building. He looked at her intently, with a calmness that seemed to hide something dangerous. Maddie hurried out, stumbling on the sidewalk, feeling like the biggest fool in the world. The door closed behind her with a sharp click. She didn't know it yet, but that accidental encounter would mark the beginning of something that would change her life forever. The auditorium was full, bright lights shining on the tense faces of the employees. Maddie slipped in late, her hair still damp from the morning rain. She tried to hide in the back, shrinking down, praying no one would notice her awkward arrival. Her heart raced, as if sensing something was about to happen. The air carried a heavy expectation. The operations director walked onto the stage and called for silence. "Ladies and gentlemen, it is with pride that I present the new CEO of Carter Enterprises." A murmur rippled through the room. Maddie lifted her eyes, curious, and froze. The man walking down the central aisle was no stranger. He was the driver from earlier. The same icy stare, the same flawless suit. Noah Carter. The shock made her legs tremble. She wanted to disappear, but she was trapped among colleagues pushing her forward. Noah stepped onto the stage with steady, commanding steps. His gaze swept over the crowd until it landed directly on her. Maddie felt her breath catch. He gave a faint, almost imperceptible smile, but one filled with intent. When he picked up the microphone, his voice echoed with authority. "I believe this company is built on people. Some come into our lives in unexpected ways, sometimes even by mistake." The remark drew a few quiet laughs. Maddie lowered her face, her cheeks burning. He had just exposed the secret between them without saying it outright. His eyes stayed locked on her for endless seconds. There was no doubt. Noah was enjoying her discomfort. Nervously, Maddie bit her lip and thought, "If he reveals what happened, my career will end before it even begins." But instead, he simply looked away, leaving behind an air of mystery. The next morning, Maddie found a stack of papers waiting on her desk. Direct orders, review documents that weren't even part of her job. "This must be a mistake," she whispered to herself. But the senior secretary only chuckled. "If Mr. Carter asked, it's no mistake. Noah's distant stare confirmed there was no error at all. The tasks kept piling up. One day, Maddie was sent to fix problems with the maintenance crew, wandering through hallways filled with cables and hammering. The next, she had to deal with printers that jammed for no reason. "Why me?" she muttered under her breath, wiping grease from her hands. From across the room, Noah watched silently, like an unseen judge. Each challenge felt deliberate, small traps of fate, testing her patience and courage. Maddie felt the curious stares of her coworkers, some smirking at her bad luck, others watching quietly, like spectators at a play. With every new trial, she stumbled, got back up, and pressed on. But deep down, she wondered if this was punishment, or something else. On a stifling afternoon, while carrying heavy boxes, Maddie lost her balance. Noah appeared suddenly, catching her by the arm before she fell. His grip was firm, almost rough. "Pay more attention," he said in a low voice. Breathless, Maddie shot back, "I'm not a toy for your tests." He only stared at her, not denying it. His silence was his confession. Back at her desk, Maddie realized none of this was coincidence. Noah was building something, pushing her toward limits she never knew she had. But why? The mystery lingered in the air, and in the depths of his cold eyes, hidden beneath the surface, there was a spark she couldn't decipher. It was lunchtime, and Maddie was looking for a quiet corner in the company's garden. A young reporter, supposedly doing a casual survey, struck up a conversation. Tired and unfiltered, she let a few comments about Noah slip out. "He's intense, mysterious, and probably the secret owner of every coffee shop in town." The words came out with unintended humor, and she laughed at herself, never imagining the impact they would have. Days later, video began circulating among the employees. The recording of that conversation, captured without her noticing, spread like wildfire. In the hallways, giggles, knowing glances, even bulletin boards filled with quotes from the video. Maddie blushed as she realized she had become the company's inside joke. "I'm going to disappear from the face of the earth," she whispered, mortified. Noah, however, reacted in an unexpected way. In a crowded meeting, he played the video on a giant screen. Silence fell instantly. Maddie wanted the ground to swallow her whole, but instead of scolding her, he smiled faintly. "This is the kind of authenticity we need to show the world. Maddie will be the face of our new internal communications campaign." Shock rippled through the room. Maddie swallowed hard. From a simple, offhand conversation, she had suddenly become the centerpiece of a company project. Her co-workers applauded, but all she could feel was the weight of Noah's eyes on her. There was no escape. He had chosen to put her in the spotlight, as if to prove she was different. But why me? She wondered, confused. Noah's decision changed everything. Maddie, once invisible, was now being watched at every turn. And behind that choice, there was something more. A silent game, a hidden provocation that drew her closer to him each day. The video wasn't just viral, it was the start of a bond impossible to ignore. The auditorium was packed, everyone waiting for the team's monthly presentation. Nervous, Maddie clutched her notes with trembling hands. As she stepped onto the stage, she tripped over the microphone cable and, in a disastrous move, knocked over a huge decorative plant with a loud crash. The audience erupted in laughter, and every gaze cut into her like sharp blades. Maddie's face burned. She wanted to run, but she took a deep breath and pushed forward. "Sorry, looks like even nature decided to join the meeting." Her remark drew applause and unexpected laughter. Within minutes, her blunder became a meme, pinned on the company's bulletin board with the title, "The Power of Corporate Nature." There was no way out. Noah, sitting in the front row, never took his eyes off her. Instead of irritation, there was something different in his expression. When the presentation ended, he called her to the front, in front of everyone. "Authenticity can't be taught. Maddie has it in abundance." His words echoed like public recognition, leaving her stunned. Little by little, the barrier between them began to fade. Noah started inviting her to strategic meetings, asking for her opinion in discussions that had once been far above her role. Maddie, still uncertain, struggled to understand why he insisted on her so much. The weight of curiosity grew with every silent glance they exchanged. The corporate world was no longer the same. Where Maddie once felt invisible, now every step she took drew attention. But what intrigued her most was how Noah seemed to test her limits while protecting her at the same time. It was a dangerous game, full of signals no one dared to decipher. The city's most luxurious restaurant glowed under golden chandeliers, their light reflecting in crystal glasses. Maddie, uneasy in a borrowed dress, walked beside Noah. He had given her the title of Special Integration Assistant, but she knew there was more to it. The guest's eyes measured her from head to toe, as if questioning why she was there. At the table, an elegant investor leaned too close to Noah, her voice dripping with sugar and unspoken intentions. Maddie watched, out of place, until Noah gave her a subtle glance, almost a silent request. She understood instantly. Her role was to distract, to shield, to break the game. Maddie took a deep breath and stepped in. She told funny stories about Mystery Cafe's Mr. Carter would probably buy just to secure a lifetime discount on croissants. Laughter spread around the table, shifting the atmosphere. The investor pulled back, annoyed, and for the first time that night, Noah relaxed. Maddie's quick wit had turned the tables. When dinner ended, Noah walked her to the car. The silence between them was different, heavy with unspoken words. He paused, looked at her with disarming intensity, and said only, "Thank you. You saved me tonight." Maddie gave a timid smile, though her heart pounded like a drum. Their eyes locked for seconds that felt eternal. No touch, no further words, only the certainty that an invisible bond was being formed. And though both tried to disguise it, they knew that night would not end as just another business dinner. The company's ballroom sparkled with shimmering lights, reflected in glasses and elegant gowns. Soft music filled the air as employees celebrated after a year of pressure and goals. Maddie, in a simple dress, tried to blend into the crowd, but Noah's eyes found her across the room, as if nothing else existed. Suddenly, he approached. "May I have this dance?" he asked, extending his hand. Maddie hesitated, then accepted. In the center of the room, under curious stares, the two moved in sync. Each step, each gesture, felt more intimate than it should. "You confuse me, Maddie," he whispered, his voice low enough for only her to hear. Her heart raced. "And you scare me, Noah," she answered honestly. His eyes softened for a moment, as though every wall had fallen. This was more than a dance. It was a silent confession, a meeting of vulnerabilities hidden behind walls of steel. The world around them seemed to fade away. After the music ended, Noah led her to the balcony, where the city shimmered under the night lights. "I want to see you outside of this place. Not as a CEO, but as a man." Maddie held her breath. The world spun in her mind. She smiled, unsure of what to say. It was the beginning of something impossible to contain. But in the days that followed, everything changed. Noah became cold again, distant, almost cruel. Maddie confronted him in an empty hallway. "Why are you treating me like this?" He looked away and answered sharply, "Because we crossed the line of protocol." The words fell like ice into her heart, leaving more questions than answers. The days that followed were silent torment. Maddie arrived early, completed her tasks, and avoided Noah's eyes. His coldness tore her apart inside, until one morning, she found an envelope on her desk. The company's letterhead concealed something personal. Trembling, she opened it. The words, written by hand, were unexpected. "Noah Carter doesn't exist when I'm near you. There's only a man you made laugh when no one else could." Maddie read in silence, her heart racing. Every line held a confession, but also fear. He admitted she unbalanced him, that he didn't know how to handle vulnerability. It was as if he were apologizing without saying it outright. That same evening, during a team recognition dinner, Maddie hardly dared to lift her eyes, until Noah took the microphone. In front of everyone, he spoke about her. Authenticity is rare, and Maddie reminded us that being true can still transform an entire environment. Applause filled the room, and she stood frozen, trying to believe it was really happening. But even after the recognition, the emptiness remained. Noah never came closer than those public words. It was as if he were still bound by his own chains. Maddie smiled, thanked everyone, but inside, suspense gnawed at her. Was it only professional admiration or something he didn't dare to admit? The letter remained tucked in her bag, close to her heart. She read it over and over, searching between the lines for an unspoken promise. His silence left everything in suspense, as if a decision was about to be made, but no one knew when. The rooftop was lit only by soft lights, reflecting over a simply set table. The night wind carried the distant hum of the city, but there, time seemed suspended. Maddie arrived, not knowing what to expect. Noah was waiting, tense, as if every second carried weight. "Thank you for coming," he said, his voice lower than ever. He pulled out a chair for her, but didn't start dinner. He only watched her, as if gathering courage. "I never forgot that day, when you stepped into the wrong car. I should have sent you away, but I couldn't. Since then, everything in me has changed." The words came out in fragments, heavy with restrained emotion. Maddie, her eyes brimming, tried to smile. "You've confused me so much, Noah. One day, you pulled me close. The next you pushed me away." He nodded, as if carrying an old guilt. Then, taking a deep breath, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. The click echoed in the silence, revealing a simple ring, yet full of meaning. "I don't want protocols anymore. I don't want excuses. I want you, forever." Noah knelt before her, his gaze steady despite his vulnerability. Maddie covered her mouth with her hands, unable to hold back the tears. Her heart pounded so loudly it seemed to echo across the rooftop. Between sobs and nervous laughter, she managed only one word: yes. Fragile, yet strong enough to tear down the wall between them. Noah smiled, truly smiled for the first time. In that moment, every doubt turned into a promise. Their future began right there, under the city sky that bore witness to an impossible love becoming real. The office no longer felt the same. Where silence and tension once reigned, now there was laughter and complicity. Maddie walked through the halls carrying reports, her eyes meeting Noah's. They were no longer the looks of a boss to an employee, but of two people sharing invisible secrets within the corporate world. Mornings became rituals. Croissants on the table, cups of coffee, little inside jokes only they understood. Noah, once known for his rigidity, now smiled in meetings when she was near. "You forgot the most important part of the report," he'd say in a serious tone. Maddie, laughing, would ask, "And what would that be?" His answer, "You." During quick lunches, they shared simple stories as if they were treasures. Maddie spoke of the little things that delighted her: a song on the radio, a child playing in the subway. Noah listened intently, as if each detail was priceless. In those everyday moments, he discovered what true wealth really meant. Their wedding, simple but filled with inside references, had left traces in their daily lives. Penguin print socks, expensive croissants turned into running jokes, and the habit of walking together through the city after long days of work. It wasn't perfection. It was real life with its stumbles, its ironies, and the lightness only true love can bring. And deep down, they both knew it had all started with a mistake. A wrong car, relentless rain. What could have been nothing more than a fleeting embarrassment became proof that destiny has mysterious ways of bringing two people together. And even in the heart of a millionaire, unexpected love found its place. In the end, Maddie and Noah proved that kindness always wins, and even the coldest hearts can be reborn when they find true love. And what about you? Could it be that you're letting slip the chance to live something that could transform your life? Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and keep watching moving stories that inspire and show that love always finds a way.